When I go to the temple and see different deities, sometimes I feel less Shraddha for one compared to another one, and then I feel guilty. What should I think? And is it normal? So, loudly? You did not hear? Okay. When I go to the temple and see different Bhagavans and Devatas and deities, sometimes I feel less Shraddha for one compared to another. And then I feel guilty. What should I think? And is it normal? So, we have a concept of Ishtadevata. Ishtadevata means a chosen deity, or the deity whom I worship, who is worshipful in my mind. So, we have so many devatas, it's quite likely that one of them may be our chosen deity. That may be due to what is coming down in our family. So you are born and raised in a family where Sri Krishna is worshipped, somewhere Ganapati is worshipped, somewhere Lord Shiva is worshipped, somewhere Devi is worshipped. It's quite likely, therefore, that we may have a greater attachment or affiliation for one deity as compared to others. Or sometimes our own fancy, that we like Lord Krishna more than others, somebody likes Hanumanji more than others, somebody like Ganeshji more. It's quite possible that we may like one devata, or we may have more affiliation, more attachment, more pujya bhava, more sense of worshipfulness towards one deity as compared to the other. So then what happens? That all deities are not the same in our eyes. One is superior, or one is worshipful, and others are not as worshipful as others in our own perception, which is natural. It is natural that this would happen. See, that is the reason why Adi Shankaracharya ji introduced what we call the Panchayatana Puja. In the times of Adi Shankaracharya, some 1200 years ago, these 5 deities were very popular. Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Devi, Lord Ganesha, and Surya Narayana, or sometimes Kartikeya. So these 5 deities were very popular in different regions of the country. So this question would arise: which devata is superior? Which devata is not? None of them is superior because all of them are manifestations of the same supreme deity, Paramatma, Param Brahma. Therefore, none is superior, none is inferior, all of them are the same. However, in our own mind, they may not all be the same because we have affiliation for one as compared to the other. So I may be a devotee of Lord Krishna, I would like him more. So if it's devotee of Lord Shiva, they would like them more. So what did Adi Shankaracharya prescribe was Panchayatana Puja, meaning worship of 5 devatas on the same altar. So these 5 deities would be there in my altar. Lord Vishnu or one of these Swarupa will be there, Lord Shiva, Devi, Ganesha, and Surya Narayana. Now, one of them will be my Ishtadevata, one of them is my chosen deity. So you place that in the center. Other 4 devatas are placed in the 4 corners. And when you perform the puja, you perform minor puja for the 4 and the major puja for the one in the center. So that way, all devatas are honored. At the same time, the one with whom we are affiliated is honored more because that is what gives us a greater satisfaction. So that is what it is. It is very likely that all the devatas which are there on the altar in the temple, we may have a greater affiliation for one as compared to other, which is quite all right. And so we may worship that devata, perhaps with greater devotion, with little longer time. Other devatas you may worship, but with perhaps not as much concentration, as much time. But idea is that we should respect all of them. Same time, the one that is our Ishta Devata, our chosen deity, can definitely be in our own mind placed at a higher pedestal. Or we can offer a greater devotion. It is quite all right. It's quite natural also. That we don't feel the same for everybody, naturally. And so our mother is different. Mothers are all respectful. Still, all children are lovable, but our child is different. Similarly, all devatas are of course worshipful, but still, our devata has a special place in our heart, which is quite all right. And so, therefore, when you go to the temple, don't feel guilty. Also remind yourself that all devatas are manifestation of one supreme devata, a Lord. So really there is no difference among them. But in my heart there is some difference because I am accustomed to worshipping one devata. So Lord, please pardon me if I am not able to show the same respect to all of them, that I show more respect to one, and not, it's quite all right, they will understand. Meaning that they will not get angry, they will not feel jealous. Although Puranas describe sometimes devatas also feeling jealous, but that is all story. We do not expect that Bhagavan will feel jealous now. A devata will not feel jealous of another devata, and thereby it is quite okay to do that. Even Lord Krishna also says, Kamaihi taitai taihi taihi hrutajnanaha prapadyante anya devataha tam tam niyamasthaya prakritya niyatasvaya. He says, different people worship different deities. Why do you worship a given deity? Depending upon your prakriti, your nature. The kind of samskaras or impressions that we have brought from the past. So sometimes we find that some children have affiliation for a certain deity just from childhood. Some children like Lord Krishna, somebody likes Lord Shiva, from childhood also we find. It is possible that we may have brought those samskaras or impressions with us, or they may be cultivated in course of our upbringing in our own family. And so Lord Krishna says they worship different devatas, following all the procedure as we did today, and please them. And that devata gives them the desired result, desired reward. But Lord Krishna says ultimately I, in the form of that devata, is really giving them the result. So ultimately only one. They think that this devata has given me. See, they think that only Ganesha did this, or Lord Krishna did it, etc. But in fact, is one Lord only in those forms who blesses the devotees. It's natural that a devotee would have an affiliation for one form as compared to the other form. It is very likely and quite natural also. So we need not feel guilty or anything, but as I said, in our mind also should not think that one devata is superior to other. They are all the same. But in my heart, I have a greater devotion for this, and so that's what we express. But in order to overcome this conflict, as I said, Adi Shankaracharya initiated the Panchayatana Puja, or the worship of 5 devatas on the same altar. What is the definition of karma? How does one remain on the right path if there is no answerability from those who have chosen otherwise? I think when this person asks, what's the definition of karma? I think what is meant is, what is the definition of dharma? Meaning, what's the definition of punya karma, dharma or righteous action? I guess I don't know the exact purpose of this question, but perhaps sometimes we find that other people are not following the right values, that they violate the values and still they seem to get away. So answerability from those who have chosen otherwise, meaning some people have chosen to violate the values or not take the trouble of doing what is right, then how can we remain on the right path? Is that the question? Anyway, for us to remain on the right path, it should not matter whether somebody is on the right path or not. Somebody may violate, may not be on the right path. That does not mean that we should not be on the right path. Because if I am on the wrong path, I can never reach my destination. Somebody has chosen the wrong path, meaning that you may find that person is violating the values or violating the norms, accepted norms in the society, accepted norms in the family, or norms in the scriptures, or the prescribed values, prescribed way of doing things. People sometimes violate because either they don't have patience or they don't have what we call Shraddha or they trust. So Upanishad says, Satyameva Jayate Nanrutam. Truth wins, falsehood never wins. That's what they say. But that may not be my experience. I may find that in the world it is falsehood that seems to be winning and not truth. Therefore, I may not have that kind of faith in this statement, the truth alone wins. That if I don't have faith, then I'm likely to compromise the truth whenever something more valuable is involved. Because we have value for truth. We have value for honesty. All of us have. At the same time, we also have value for money. We value for power, recognition, value for our image. So those values also. As long as these two values do not conflict each other, so long everybody is truthful. Everybody is honest as long as they do not have to lose anything by being honest. If you don't have to suffer any pain, don't have to lose anything, everybody is honest. Because everybody loves honesty basically. Nobody wants to be dishonest. Because whenever I act in a dishonest manner, there is something within me which tells me that that's not right. Because one knows what is right and what is wrong generally. In some very complicated case, one may not know what is right and what is wrong, but generally we know what is right and wrong. What is honesty, what is dishonesty, we know. And also there is something within me which tells me that I should be honest. That shows that I have basically value for honesty, or truthfulness, or non-violence, or compassion. But then I am pressurized. This value for money, a value for some other material things, worldly things, may be so much that it pressurizes me to compromise that value. So nobody compromises a value for the sake of compromising. Everybody compromises value only under pressure, inner pressure. What brings about the inner pressure? Some other value. We have two sets of values. What are called universal values and acquired values, or values for the worldly things. We have both the values. Because as we grow up in the society, we find that people value money, people value power, recognition, name, fame. So we also start valuing that. Because we find that those people who have those things are supposed to be successful, are called successful, they are all respected in the society. Also want respect. So that is how we cultivate the value for money and name and fame and all this worldly stuff. At the same time, in our heart, also the value for honesty, truthfulness, goodness. So now when in the process of being honest, if it is required that I have to let go some money, I have to let go my prestige, to let go my image, then there is a conflict. Because image is very dear to me, prestige is very dear to me, money is very dear to me. So then conflict rises in the mind. And very often the pressure of money and the prestige and image is stronger than the pressure of that honesty. Because for honesty to become important to me, I must have done work on that. I must keep on practicing honesty again and again and again and again, then only it becomes a strong value, otherwise it doesn't become. Whereas for money, etc., there is already a strong value. And so, when there is a conflict, under pressure, a person violates the value. This pressure. Arjuna asked this of Lord Krishna. Asa kena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha. O Lord, what is it that pressurizes the person to violate the value? To act in accordance with, against or contrary to the values. Is that pressure called kamaha, krodha, passion, anger, greed. So I guess we find other people compromising the values, violating the values, and apparently not being affected. If the result was right away that you compromise value, you get a slap, then you know that there is an immediate punishment for violating the value. But we do not find people being punished for violating values, nor do we find people being rewarded for following the values. You follow? We do not seem to find an immediate reward for following the value, nor do we find an immediate punishment for violating the value. We want immediate results. So this requires what we call Shraddha or faith. That good begets good and evil begets evil. This is called law of karma. What is law of karma? Law of cause and effect. As you sow, so you reap. A simple law. Therefore you sow what is good, what is virtuous, you will reap also the happiness. If you sow vicious thing, you will reap also unhappiness. It's a matter of Shraddha. And when the result will come, we do not know. I will perform an action now, the result will come later. So we are not able to connect the cause and effect. You follow what I am saying? I perform an action, good or bad. There is no way for me to connect that a given experience is due to this certain action I performed in the past. We can't connect it. That being the case, we do not know that a virtuous action necessarily results into happiness, or vicious action necessarily results in unhappiness, we do not have that evidence in our own experience. For that, we are simply depend upon the scriptures. But it also stands to reason. As you sow, so you reap. And therefore, even if you find other people not following the values, getting away, if people get away, we don't have to we don't have to imitate them. We don't have to take a lesson from them. We follow our own values with the faith that it is for my good, for my well-being, my spiritual well-being. Two kinds of well-being are there: spiritual well-being and material well-being. Understand that what gives me happiness is spiritual well-being. Material well-being gives me comfort. Spiritual well-being gives me happiness. So whether I want comfort in my life or happiness in my life, happiness can only come from spiritual well-being, not from anything else. And only when you follow values, when you follow the virtuous path, then alone spiritual well-being can be there, then alone happiness can be there. So with that trust, we continue to follow the right path. I do not know if this was the question and whether my answer is, what the person wanted to know. But since nobody wants to own up the question, we cannot verify. They're very interesting. Are there spirits? Is there an affiliate? I don't know what is affiliate. Afterlife, sorry. Is there an afterlife? There definitely is an afterlife. That is what we believe. Again, it's a matter of belief. There is a law of karma, which is law of cause and effect. Meaning that whatever actions I perform during this lifetime, I am answerable to every action that I have performed. Meaning that I am responsible for experiencing the result of actions that I have performed. Now, I perform action from the birth to the death. Many of those actions give rise to result in this lifetime. Some of the actions may not give rise to result in this lifetime. In which case, I am required to take another birth to experience the result of actions which are yet unfulfilled. What happens is, in this lifetime, which is a result of the past, in the process of experiencing results, I keep on performing new karma and thus keep on creating new results for myself. Some of them I experience now, some of them I experience later. Therefore, our life is like a station, like a journey. In the olden days in India, we had what we call the railway junctions, junction where you change the train. Even today also. Here we have now aeroplanes, where you go from one flight to the other flight. There's a hub, you go there and change the flight. In those days, we used to have trains. So this train takes me from here to this point, other train takes me from that to that point. Maybe I may need to change 2-3 trains to reach my destination. When we leave home, the family, there are a number of articles which they carry with them, because in those days, you needed to carry some food also with you, and then my mother would carry even a primus stove, because she would not drink tea from the station, so they would have to make their own tea, whatever. So have bucket is there, a primus stove is there, some dabba is there for food, all kinds of things are there. And your clothes and whatnot. And then, so we count all the articles. Because there are 4 or 5 members of the family. So 12 articles are there. Count them. Now comes the junction. We change the train. Okay, mother says, come on, count all of them. Count all the articles. You don't leave a single one behind. Carry everything with you. All the baggage you carry with you. It is possible that during the course of journey, you may have purchased some articles because some vendors come on the way. Some toys are there, some food is there, some things are there, stations also come. Some railway stations are famous for certain food, certain articles, so they buy. So maybe you collected some more and you may have eaten some food and used some things, so that's how it goes on. With all that you go to new train, leaving nothing behind. Same thing, there again you acquire something, you spend something, go to the next one. That's how the life is. It's like a train journey. We have come with some baggage. Part of the baggage is utilized that we, exhaust result of some karmas. Some baggage is added, perform new karma. With the resultant baggage, you go to the next birth. With all the baggage, leaving nothing here. So afterlife is next birth. It's not afterlife. It is what we call the punarjanma, or the rebirth is there. See, when they use the word afterlife, then they talk about some spirits, revolving around, etc. But we have rebirth. Unless you are liberated, unless you are a liberated person, soul, until then we have to keep on taking the new births. Other spirits, they say there are other ghosts. Well, that's what we hear the description. So it is possible that some jivatma, some soul, jiva, we have performed different kinds. So we get a new body after we depart from this body. What kind of body shall we get? Depending upon what kind of karma we have performed. So sometimes we get a body of a preta also for some time. So therefore they talk of bhuta, preta, ghosts, etc. All these things are there. Whether we should worry about them, should be afraid of them, that I don't know. I would not. At the same time, since the Puranas talk about this, we accept that those things are also there. Different yonis are there, different species are there. So are there spirits? Answer is yes. Do the spirits enter the body? That's what they say, I don't know. So this is just a matter of belief. When there are spirits, they enter your body. So they seem to enter, do all kinds of things. But best is not to worry about them and not be scared of them. And if you are scared, Hanuman Chalisa, keep on repeating. Bhuta pisacha nikat nahi aave, Mahavir jab nama sunave. That's all. So no Bhuta Pisach will come when you are repeating Hanuman's name. Okay. Is there anything in our control? Do we have a free will? Or is it all destined? This question. Do we have free will or is it all destined? Well, we accept a free will. Human being has a free will. The creatures other than human beings do not have free will. That is our belief, that they are all programmed beings, and therefore they perform their actions as programmed. Instinctively they live their life. Meaning that there is no deliberate life as far as all the creatures are concerned. Only human being is capable of living a deliberate life. We can perform deliberate action. A cat cannot perform deliberate action. As soon as the cat sees a mouse, immediately she'll jump, that is instinctively. They live their life based on instincts. Many human beings also live life only based on instincts and impulses, but then we have the freedom, we have the free will. And therefore, if our mind is under our control, then we have the faculty of free will. Then we can exercise our choice. What is free will? The faculty or the freedom to choose. In Sanskrit it said, kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha va kartum shakyam. You have the freedom to perform an action or not perform an action, or perform an action the way we want. This freedom we have. It is true that very often we in fact have no benefit of this freedom, because very often our actions are controlled by impulses such as anger, greed. Just now we talked, inner pressure makes us do things. In that case, it is not our free will that is acting, it is that impulse that is acting. But then, we have the freedom not to be controlled by the impulse and control our own action. So that is free will, where we can control our action. That's all we can control. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Lord Krishna says, your freedom as far as performance of an action is concerned. Ma phaleshu kadachana, you do not have freedom in determining the outcome of an action. So, thus the roles are set, or they are very clarified. That the individual has the freedom to perform an action, and Lord determines what the outcome is, what the result is. So whatever we confront is the result of the actions we have performed in the past. So results of action we perform in the past, which manifest in the form of the circumstances today, is called prarabdha or destiny. So destiny is something that we cannot control. Meaning situation that presents itself before us is something that we cannot control, because it is not in our hand, it is all controlled by the laws of karma, laws of nature. That's called destiny. Our Bada Swami used to say that what we confront is destiny, and the way we respond to that is free will. So what in front of me is destiny. The way I respond is free will. However, we have the benefit of free will, provided we are not controlled by any impulses. If I am controlled by anger, by jealousy, by greed, by hatred, by any of these negative impulses, then at that time my free will is relegated to the background, because it's my impulse that decides what I do. At that time, even though I have the free will, I don't have the benefit of the free will. But if we keep control over our mind, if we are alert, then we have the free will. Because then only, so freedom is not much. A limited freedom is there. Just as on the road we are driving our vehicle. And not the roads in America. Think of roads in Ahmedabad. You have to watch the traffic pattern there and see how things, those so-called motorbike, the youngsters, they weave through their path, and rickshawala goes that way, and everybody is, and so there is absolutely no order at all. If such a situation prevailed on the roads of North America, there will be millions of accidents. But still Indians have lots of accidents, but not millions. Still a person leaves home in the morning and returns home unhurt, generally. Which means that in spite of all the chaos on the road, we still have the freedom to negotiate our vehicle such that we can reach our destination. We have no control over the rest of the traffic. No control of how the rickshawala will behave, how the truckwala will behave, how the bikewala will behave, how the pedestrians will run around, how the animals will run. We have no control over anything. And still, therefore, the drivers in India are like yogis. They are so alert, and their eyes are moving everywhere. And they can see how this fellow is running this way, so the dog is crossing the road, etc. And they take everything into account. Meaning that is our free will. Whereas we cannot control the rules, we cannot control the behavior of other people, we cannot control the traffic. Nevertheless, we have a limited freedom in the form of a steering wheel, an accelerator, a brake, with which we can negotiate our vehicle and reach our destination. This human being is a destination. See, if there is no destination, then the free will is not required. Animals have no destination. No free will is required. But we have destination. Therefore, freedom is required. So we do have free will, limited free will. But enough that if we properly use our free will, unfortunately with freedom, the problem is that freedom can be abused also. That's the problem. If we judiciously and wisely use the freedom, then freedom becomes a blessing to us. On the other hand, we abuse the freedom, then very freedom becomes a curse to us. Therefore, the human free will can be a blessing or a curse depending upon how a given human being uses that freedom. Therefore, Dharma, righteousness. Because we have freedom while performing every action. To do this, not to do this, or how to do it. How do we make choice? Based on Dharma, based on righteousness. That is why this do's and don'ts. Do this, don't do this. This is given to us. So that we do what is right and avoid doing what is not right. Therefore we have the guidance in the form of scriptures, such as Bhagavad Gita, which teaches us how to use our free will, so that by judicious use of free will we can reach the destination. So human being has free will. How much free will do I have? Swami, what is destiny? That is very difficult to determine. In any situation like this also, how much is my free will? How much destiny? Very difficult to determine. All I can say is, I cannot control the audience. You sitting in front of me, listening to me, looking at your cell phone, dozing off, just standing at me and thinking of something else, whatever. So that, I can't control all that. That is called my destiny. So what kind of listeners you are confronted with, or you are stuck with, is the destiny of the speaker. But I have the freedom to use my freedom properly, regardless of how the audience is. I have the freedom to be kind, to be patient. Or I can sometimes lose my control. I get angry. Hey, why are you sitting there? Look at me. Why do you look at the side? Why are you looking at your cell phone? Why are you doing this? So the free will is there. Used properly, it's a blessing. Abused, it is a curse. Meaning that I have the freedom to help myself and the freedom to hurt myself. Nobody can help me and nobody can hurt me. I have to help myself or to hurt myself. Others can help me to some extent. Ultimately, They can help me to help me. You follow? They say, help us to help you. You know this ayah. There are signs like that. Help us to help you. So thus, yes, the world can help me. Scriptures can help. God also can help me. Help me to help myself. Ultimately, I have to help myself. That's called freedom. That's called responsibility. So freedom should be accompanied with responsibility. That's called dharma. Dharma means I should make sure that my actions are in keeping with dharma or righteousness. Karmanyavadhikarasya. Lord Krishna says that is your responsibility. That you should perform actions in keeping with dharma. Your responsibility. Then rest he will take care. So they say, leave the driving to us. So we leave driving to him. Perform the action, leave the outcome to him. That's it. Okay? All done?